Like, they're drawing parallels with the current situation to the 30s in America, which is the wrong analogy. They should be looking at Weimar Germany in the 20s. In Weimar Germany in the 20s, they tried the exact same policies that Obama and his financial oligarch buddies, Lawrence Lindsay and Tim Geithner, are trying, and it led to hyperinflation. All this supposed money that they're throwing at the situation is merely going to come crashing back onto the economies in the form of very high, if not hyperinflation. The Singapore government today just announced a devaluation of their currency. The British pound is cracking and looking the weakest it's been in generations. The US dollar is technically just holding on by fingernails before it takes another huge plunge. Currencies all over the world are diving because of all this fiat money and fake economic mumbo jumbo coming out of Barack Obama's mouth, and it's going to catch everybody with a severe bout of inflation on the other side of this. And now that's when the crisis is really going to start. This crisis he talks about and saying we're going to figure out how to prevent it from happening again. It hasn't even started yet. The true crisis is going to be the hyperinflation in the United States. That is the result of all the policy blunders being made right now.
So MarketWatch goes, the G20 summit's winners and losers. But forget about that, Rodney Shakespeare. If you want to comment on that, go ahead. But so what exactly is happening if you both believe that this summit, all eyes on it, simply failed to produce any tangible results, the solution to this crisis, saving the world in 4.5 hours? So what exactly is happening to this world financially speaking?
Well, just a few comments on what Max said. I mean, in 1930, the situation was actually much better. You didn't have a large number of people with subprime loans. You didn't have consumer credit. And the Americans' balance of payments was nearly even, I believe, at that time. The situation is many, many times right. Max is right, is that a huge inflation is being built up. At the same time, there's also going to be a depression. You're going to get some form of stagflation. As regards the overall situation, there's no doubt that there is an underlying shift of power from the Western economies to China, India, and to Russia, one of the countries that Gordon Brown decided to downgrade at the G20 summit if he could. What a mistake. So you've got this underlying shift. There's a problem in that countries like China are not yet able to open up their internal demand. And if they don't do that, they're going to have social and economic problems. So I'm seeing problems right the way around. I think at least one country will go down into some form of fascist government. There is going to be a civil disorder and riots. The situation is not good, and it will not improve until they recognize the cause of the problem at the moment. They recognize that they have to get rid of the bad debt, probably just wipe it out. They have to stop the banks creating money at all costs. Stop them. If they want to be irresponsible, let them lend their own money. Let them lend the deposits of customers with permission. Then open up a new money supply from the National Bank, interest-free and administered by the banks according to certain rules and regulations. And if they're not going to do that, nothing's going to be solved in under 15 years.
All right, but one good news is they are going to meet, so there is going to be another G20 as opposed to G8, G7, so on and so forth. We instructed our finance ministers to complete the implementation of these decisions in line with the timetable set out in the action plan. We have asked the FSB and the IMF to monitor progress, working with the Financial Action Task Force and other relevant bodies, and to provide a report to the next meeting of our finance ministers in Scotland in November. So come November, Max, what do you see?
I think that we're talking about the next meeting of the Money Printers Anonymous meetings. These guys are addicted to printing money. They're going to keep going to Money Printers Anonymous meetings, but they're not actually going to work the program, which is to introduce sound money into these economies backed by something tangible like gold bullion. They're going to keep wishing away the problems by issuing fiat currencies, by creating more derivatives, by selling the derivatives back and forth with each other and charging each other a fee for the privilege. And it's all very, as I said before, like 1649, when there was a break between the divine right of kings and the establishment of Parliament. And we had the same thing in France. when they had the revolution. And you had the same thing in America with a revolution. Now we're going to see a revolution between people who want to work and save, who are going to go to war, with people who are borrowing to speculate. That's the next war. It's going to be savers versus speculators. Forget about fundamentalist fanatics. Let's talk about banking fanatics. They do the worst damage. They're impoverishing the entire globe.
Well,
yes,
Amir?
yes, go ahead. 30 seconds. And what do you see come November 2009? Scotland, another meet.
a lot of distressed people getting very, very angry as they lose their jobs. That's the bottom line going on. Social distress and disorder.
All right. Pessimistic outlook there. Our thanks to London, where we're joined by Professor Rodney Shakespeare, visiting professor of binary economics at Trisakti University, Jakarta, Indonesia. From Paris, we're joined by Max Kaiser, financial journalist with Huffington Post blogger. Well, you can visit his blogs at maxkaiser.com. Gentlemen, thank you for your time, views, and the insight you've brought to another edition of Fine Print. To our viewers, always watch out for the fine print right here in Press TV with me, Amir Arfa.